Welcome back to the Coach Tim Beck Show, presented by CDL Electric. Eddie Lompchek and Coach Beck live at Chatter's Restaurant and Bar in Pittsburgh. Out of this second break each week on the show, we give you the Gorilla Nation Mobile Fan Club trivia question, sponsored by Vital Signs Sign Company of Columbus. Northwest was number one on Saturday. It was the sixth time PSU has faced a top-ranked team in the country since going Division II in 1989. And what was the Gorillas' record prior to that win on Saturday against number one teams? It's either 4-1, 3-2, 2-3, 1-4, or 0-5. If you're a member of the Gorilla Nation Mobile Fan Club, you'll get that question texted to you, multiple guess ballot, and then you can send your answer back in. And if you're correct, you'll receive some merchandise courtesy of Pitt State and Vital Signs, and we'll have the correct answer and the winner for you. Nothing you call in. You need to be a member of that texting service to play along. And to join the Gorilla Nation Mobile Fan Club, text the word Gorilla Fan, all one word, to 66937. You'll get a confirmation text in return, and for being a part of that, you'll get a chance all year to play along Mondays during the school year with the trivia contest, and then also all during football and basketball season vote in our players of the game. So we'll look forward to that. Time to draw for another coupon here. Free breakfast to Fat Daddy's, drink included, expires at the end of the calendar year. So come on in some night and see us and get registered for this. Faith Nacarado, come on down. We have a winner there in the house, so get about 6 seconds to get here and get it, and then we're going to draw again. So we're in a hurry-up mode. Had no huddle mode here, so Faith Nacarado's here. She'll get a free breakfast to Fat Daddy's, courtesy of Chatters and Fat Daddy. So look forward to that. Well, Coach, 21-3 we mentioned there, and go down able to get a field goal, and then your defense there, you get the one stop after they get one first down. Then you get a 3 and out. Was there a point you could see your defense getting more confident?
Yeah, I think the longer the game went, I think you could see them kind of get settled in. And there's a point there where you wonder what's going to happen with Northwest, how they're going to continue to call plays. Are they going to continue to be real aggressive and continue to throw the ball down the field? And they take a chance to have some incompletions. And it kind of plays on them a little bit, too. They've scored so fast, so quick. Do they continue to be really aggressive, which they have against most everybody else, or are they going to try to run the ball here and run the clock? And you knew with the way they are, they're going to see if they can't score 65 points on us. And so us getting stops obviously was very, very important for our defense.
Well, another field goal drive, 7 plays, 44 yards, just over 4 minutes, but 12 minutes time of possession pretty much in that second quarter with those. And so that's pretty big for you. Again, it's 21-6 at this point. So you're able to cut it 2 scores, but how frustrating when they go back down and get a field goal or another touchdown, a 4-play, 73-yard drive in a minute 27 that you had cut it to 15. How disheartening was that to an extent?
Well, there was a lot of disheartening things.
Yeah, for lack of a better term.
That was one of them. Again, they're just extremely explosive. And, for our guys to settle in and do what they did in the second half was phenomenal. But at that time, we still just didn't feel great about what we had done. But we have a lot of good defensive players on our team, and you would see later they're going to step up and make some big plays.
Well, almost a pit in the stomach play. You fumble with the ball out near midfield after a throw and catch, and Northwest gets it at their own 41. Here's a minute 11 and a half. They have great field position, 2 timeouts, plenty of time for them. I didn't think they were great maybe in how they used their timeouts on Saturday. They end up having to scramble with Christopher. He gets tackled in bounds. Time runs out, so they don't get a chance to at least kick a field goal. How big do you think that stop was?
Well, I'm like you. I was really sick there. I thought if they go down and score here, that's going to be really big trouble. But they lined up to throw the Hail Mary, and he, it was odd to me because he really didn't look to throw it. I mean, they had trips to the right, and he really never even looked over there to throw it that much, and then he ends up breaking contain and running to the left, and then you feel better because you feel like it's last play and we're going to get him tackled. So that was a huge relief to us for them not to get some more points right before the half.
So 28-6 at the break. What's the first message, the biggest thing at halftime?
Biggest thing at halftime, we walked in, we got everybody together and said, hey, everybody, we felt like everybody looked a little shell-shocked. Everybody was, they weren't panicking, they were just in disbelief, I guess you would say, and said, hey, we just got to settle down, and it was very important for us offensively. The first or second series, I felt like we've got to go out and get points, the first or second series. If we can do that, and then defensively get some stops, and then make a big play defensively. We need to to either sack the quarterback and knock the ball loose, or we got to do something defensively where we, give our offense another chance, or a short field, or whatever it may be. And of course, Jason Pete's interception for the touchdown was an unbelievable play that helped us get back into it. But we just kind of got them cranked up a little bit, fired up about it, because they were really down for a minute, and then our coaches went to work. Our coaches went full speed ahead in what do we got to do offensively, defensively, special teams. Is there anything else we can do to attack them in the third quarter?
How about the running game? Because I know you talked last week. You really felt their defense flowed well and ran well from upstairs where we were 9 stories up. You can see it open up, but you can see it close in a hurry too. Didn't have a real long run for the day, really a big break. How'd you feel with where you were running the ball at halftime?
Well, I thought our coaches did a good job of being patient in the second half. Even though there were some things we wanted to do to the edge, we continued to hand it up in there, even though we were only getting 2 and 3 yards. Still helped you on some of the perimeter plays that we were running. And, another good example of their recovery speed was we ran the reverse to Andrew Castaneda on the kickoff early in the game, the second kickoff. And when you watch that on video, you're thinking we should pick up 50 or 60 yards here. And he goes outside maybe instead of inside, but still they did a tremendous job of recovering. We ended up getting the ball on the 35-yard line, which appeared like we were going to get it across the 50 at the time.
Yeah, they did close in a hurry. Your long run for the day was 11 yards, one by Zach, one by John Thomas. That's a wrinkle we've talked about in the broadcast. You motion a receiver one way into the backfield, he becomes your pitch man, and even the play goes the other way. So a lot to account for there for a defense.
Yeah, that's helped us. That's something that we've added, and it's a way to get a third guy involved. And Eric Love and some of our other backs, our B backs, we can use them as pitchmen, and we have at times, but we also can use them to wrap around and block a linebacker, and we call that peel. That's our peel blocking. We also use them to slice block, which means they're going to block the defensive end. But, getting those guys in quick, short motion and then having them come around in pitch relationship gives you another added dimension to our offense.
Well, it was a great start to the second half. You want a good drive. Your own 21, pretty modest field position, and end up there was a big play. Obviously, it was a touchdown, and 3rd and 21, you're backed up, and they'd done this to you in the first half. Is it a matter of, hey, let's just get a one-on-one and take a shot? Well, at times it looks like that, but we got to 3rd and 21 because they called Briston Kelly for a chop block, which. That's still a huge gray area right now in college football, is when you can cut somebody and when you can't. And even after they called that on us, we tried to get an explanation, and one of them said, well, maybe we were wrong with this and that. We'll watch for it next time. And that's always the thing that you don't like to hear, is we'll watch for it next time. But it does look like all we're doing is dropping back and throwing it vertically, but Zach's got some reads on the inside that he could throw to, some receivers doing other things other than just the verticals on the outside. But he saw the matchup that we had, the one-on-one matchup on the edge, and of course John Brown showed his speed, and it was a great throw, great catch. And there were a couple in the first half where he's overthrown by a couple of yards. Obviously you felt like he could get behind him. Absolutely, and we kind of maybe tricked him on one of them, and we wanted to do that series early, and we wanted to throw vertical or post at the same corner twice in a row, and that's what we did there. And we thought, well, if we don't complete the 2 of them, then we'll come back, and on the 3rd one we'll do it again, but with some inside seam routes. And so, that, if nothing else, sometimes early in the game at least gets their attention, because there's been times at Pittsburgh State where we're such a good running team that you'll get those safeties and everybody creeping forward, and they don't ever respect the pass. So sometimes, even though you don't complete those balls, at least they know you have the ability and know that you're going to take some chances throwing it deep. Well, it's a big play. First touchdown of the game within 28-13, so you get your early score. 2.5 minutes later, pick 6, Jason Pete, and we've talked about him, rangy, athletic, prototype free safety, a transfer from Omaha. He's no Lathan North kid. What happened on that play for him? Well, Jason was a backside safety. We were in 2 high coverage at the time, and basically a cover 2, and the quarterback just did not see him. They run another one of their inside seam routes, and he kind of works back across the middle. Jason comes from the backside, and
catches it and picks it. Then showed his athleticism and taking it to the house. So it was just a huge play, and really got the fans and our players and everybody really into it.
Yeah, 28-20 at that point. You move Chaz Smith back from a free to a strong or a bandit. Talk about Jason's emergence. What's allowed him to get out there and get more time?
His athleticism is the main thing. Jason's a young man that we'd recruited out of high school, and he ended up choosing Omaha, and so we were able to get him back. And another, a Latham North product, and we've got some good contacts. Of course, Coach Jesse Owen, who played for us, is there, and Pete Flood is there. So we've got some good contacts with some coaches there, and he's a good addition now. He'll continue to be a great addition to our team because he's got very good head on his shoulders, and will continue to be a really good player for the Gorillas.
Yeah, just a freshman in eligibility. Looking forward to see him continue to come along. We need to take another break. When we come back, we'll continue with that fun third quarter for Pitt State. Back with more of Coach Beck, presented by CDL Electric, right after this. Welcome back to the Coach Tim Beck Show, presented by CDL Electric. That, of course, the game-winning field goal for Pittsburgh State, and boy, it would cap a wild one after being down 28-6, end up with 29 unanswered. We talked about the touchdown and the pick six for Jason Pete. Northwest goes 3 and out, not a good punt, 29 yards, but this is the part of the game, Coach, or even though you didn't do anything with it from your 49, I know you hate to waste that opportunity, but field position became a big factor.
Yeah, it was a big factor, and them not wanting to punt the ball to John was a big deal because their punter's pretty good, and he wasn't going to let it go. He's going to punt it, and they were just going to take it wherever it went out of bounds.
We have our winner from our Gorilla Nation Mobile Fan Club Vital Signs Trivia Contest. We asked you earlier, and this was texted to you, the school's record against number one teams in Division II prior to this past Saturday and 5 previous meetings. Correct answer was 0-5, and knowing that, Sarah Moore from Muskogee, Oklahoma, should get a pair of tickets to the homecoming game against Lincoln, courtesy of Vital Signs and Pitt State. Gorillas 5 previous meetings against number one. Lost 35-28 to Northwest in 2000, 27-21 to Northwest in 99. At championship game at North Alabama in 95, North Dakota State in the season opener at the Fargo Dome in 93, then also North Dakota State in the NCAA semifinals up there in Fargo in 1990. So good to get that first one. You can tell Coach Broyles or Coach whoever, you've done something nobody else has done in school history, but you look at some of those games, that's worth a round of applause, but there's some pretty memorable games in there, huh?
Well, there's some huge games in there, those very memorable games, but, there was a couple of questions asked after the game about, beating the number one team, and Coach Doral talked about how they hadn't talked about, being number one up to this point, and we just haven't put a lot of emphasis on that because the most important thing, obviously, is taking this thing one game at a time and seeing where you're at the end of the season.
Well, great games historically and obviously memorable games, but good to finally add another one, I guess, if you will, to a very decorated history. From your own 49, you end up going 3 and out, and a couple of tough plays in that possession, but then Northwest gets the ball. They're at their own 11. There was even a 5-yard penalty. They're back to their own 6, so they get a nice time-consuming drive. And now you're starting to get in the point of the game. You're playing how many possessions you need. This was big because it would have put them back up 3 at 28, or up 2 at 28-20, and very late in the third. So they run it down, maybe get a better angle for their kicker with the delay of game, but he misses it. What kind of lift does that give your team to get that goose egg?
Oh, it's a huge lift because, you kind of go from, I think we've got them pinned, and then all of a sudden they put this drive together, they get down there. Now you get to where you're hoping you hold them to a field goal. And if some way, somehow you can get them to, we can either block it or have a chance for them to miss it, then, what a great opportunity for us. And he banged it off the right upright. So it was a huge lift for a whole team.
I thought it was still going to sneak in through the left one the way it bounced parallel, but it just was outside. You could see the shadow of it. And you talked earlier about how are they going to keep playing with the lead and that. I thought their running game was pretty good in the second half. Their 2 running backs, though, combined for 18 carries with that lead. I know reading quotes from Coach Doral, he was kind of hard on himself about not, staying more aggressive with it. Are you surprised they didn't run it more than 18 times with their 2 backs?
Well, a little bit, and clearly I think James Franklin, they're both very good. But James, boy, if you don't get him wrapped up, he's tough to catch. I mean, he's tough to catch, and thank goodness he doesn't have breakaway speed, because once he breaks out in the open, a lot of times you can run him down. But man, he is a hard dude to tackle.
Number 9, and the other one, Jordan Simmons. They're both pretty similar guys, but they can gash you with that run zone. They get it going one way or the other, but fortunately not quite enough. You would get the ball, and, boy, you take advantage of the extra life after the missed field goal. This is the trick play you pull out, and everybody has these, and, you never know, is it a good time, is it not a good time? You're moving the ball. You get some breathing room field position-wise. And there's a lot of time in an 8-point game. Maybe they don't expect it at that point because you feel like you're in a rhythm. Talk about the decision to pull out that trick play.
Coach Rampy called it, and we called it Arrowhead. That was the name of the play this last week, and it was the one gadget play that we had. Usually we'll have 2 or 3, and we decided, you know what, we're going to run our offense and kind of see how we do. But there's the one gadget we had, and it was a play that had to be on the left hash or the left upright. We felt like if it was in the middle of the field, right hash, right upright, you couldn't run it because Andrew was left-handed, and we wanted him rolling to his left. And if you were to move it any further out to the middle of the field or right upright, it would give it away because of their splits. And so, there was a lot that goes into it. And Coach Rampy said, what about Arrowhead? And we all just kind of agreed. And, it was one of those things where it was well executed and a very exciting play. And we also need to thank Coach Weimers, because this is a play that he's ran several times at Emporia State, and he said every time we ran it's a touchdown. Every time we ran it's a touchdown. Well, let's just run it every time then.
Yeah, every play, right? Those backyard plays. When you do that, and I look back at the video watching that. Did you think Andrew held that ball, and what was he waiting on?
Well, the whole key, Coach Weimers kept telling us, the whole key is to take John Brown, and you got to take him down inside towards the linebackers, and he's got to hide down in there. And so, John was doing what he's supposed to do. He was supposed to get down in there and go slow and hang in there, and you have to really work it in practice, because you get in the game and the excitement of the game, they want to go much faster.
Right.
And so it was just a well-executed play by everybody, and Andrew showed it. We threw it 7 times in practice last week and completed all 7 of them. So now we're 8 for 8.
And the 8th wonder, and it was a heck of a time for it. Now you're in a situation you need a 2-point play. Toughest 3 yards in football probably, and a little wrinkle there with John in the backfield and a little double motion with him to get him open.
Yeah, and it's funny. We've practiced that play from week 1. We've had it in from week 1. Just never really felt like we've had the right time to call it, and that you see it every Sunday in NFL where it's hard to cover a back or somebody out of the backfield. But what's funny is we have not been able to complete that ball for the last 3 weeks in practice because our defense has seen it so much. So they do a great job of covering in practice. But the other day in the game, it was wide open. Plus, Briston Kelly was wide open as well.
Yeah, in the back. Well, now you can't run it anymore. Now you have to come up with a misdirection off of that, and hopefully that'll work as well. Well, that gets it tied, and then, momentum really shifts as we get into the fourth quarter as well. You keep going. Northwest at their own 27. Part of that, too, we've talked about them not wanting to punt it for field position. How'd you feel with your kickoff coverage?
Oh, kickoff coverage did a good job, and Coach Weimer's a little concerned about that because it's Pittsburgh State and Northwest are the top in the conference in kickoff returns, and both those guys are very dangerous. Yeah. And so it was we were a little reluctant on kicking it back there to them, and so for the most part our coverage guys did a really good job.
Well, they're at their own 27. They go 3 and out, and that's where some quarterback pressure started coming into play as well. Anything different adjustment-wise from your D-line in the second half, or they just turn it up a notch?
A D-line turned it up a notch, but then we brought pressure. Coach Weimers and defensive coaches decided we need to go ahead and bring some pressure. They hadn't seen a ton of pressure, and there's some times late in the game where because of the pressure that we'd put on earlier in the third quarter, I think really made a difference with their quarterbacks. They would look, and if they didn't have something to throw, then all of a sudden you'd see them kind of hunker down and look to scramble a little bit, and then we were able to get to him a couple of times. And our defense had 3 sacks, and our offensive line didn't allow a sack, which was another huge statistic in the game.
Yeah, you look at those second half possessions for Northwest from their own 8, 5 and a pick 6, from their own 29, 3 and out, from their own 11, a missed field goal, and then from their own 27, 3 and out. You get the ball at your own 40. Nice drive, 8 plays, 60 yards, 4 flat. Zach counters out. Talk about that play, the go-ahead score there.
Well, it's, again, just running our offense and doing the things that we do. And Zach, he had I talked to him a little bit last night, and boy, he took some shots in that game. I'm telling you, he took some really physical shots, and his helmet popped off a couple of times, and you always worry about that. But he's a physical player, and sometimes he likes to be a little bit too physical. Sometimes you'd like to see him go ahead and step out of bounds at times. But boy, he really really toughed it out, and I asked him yesterday if he's sore. He says, yeah, I'm sore, but it feels really good.
Yeah, he's a gamer. There's no two ways about that. So you get the lead, and not the Northwest was going to lay down for you. They're at their own 20, and then, boy, they have a nice drive, 8 plays, 80 yards, and 4th and 11. Sitting out there, was it kind of press coverage and a double move to get a 14-yard touchdown pass?
Yeah, the Soy kid's such a really good player, and he paused on the hitch, and it's not like Elijah bit on it. It's just like it paused him. It paused him for a second and allowed him. And he's a big body kid. Boy, I saw him up there on Monday,
right.
and a long arm, big body guy that has really good body control and knows how to stay vertical and press back into you. And boy, you got him covered like that, and it's just really difficult to stop. And the quarterback made a nice throw and a nice catch.
Yeah, their backup, and at that point, Christopher was knocked out of the game, and no difference to me in the two. I don't know if one's more prone to run or the other, but boy, they both put it where it needs to be. So final drive of the game, here you are at your own 19, not great field position. Then you have a 5-yard false start. What are you thinking there, 1st and 15 at your own 14?
Well, now the momentum's shifting again, it feels like, and then as soon as you do that, they get louder, then you're worried it's going to happen again, really. And boy, we were able to put a nice drive together.
It was impressive. 10 plays, 72 yards, final 4:09 off the clock. Huge play in there. Obviously, there were a couple of throws, converted some 3rd downs. John Thomas middle, but they call a timeout to catch their breath or whatever. Explain the illegal substitution penalty.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and it's it can happen. You sure wouldn't think it would happen, but it can happen. And they called timeout, and the next thing you know, they've got 12 on the field, and I wasn't sure why they were blowing the whistle at the time, but it was glad that. And we were excited that we got an easy 1st down out of it.
Yeah, the field judge from their sideline throws it, and then another big play. Zach does step out of bounds. That's a big scramble for you to convert.
The biggest part of that play was the fact that we were looking to the sideline and running 2 vertical routes, and that's the same exact play Zach had thrown a interception on against Jewel.
Okay.
And he did a really good job of not forcing anything. They were waiting on it. We thought it might be a really good idea to try to throw one in the zone instead of having to line up and kick a field goal. And so we thought we had it, but they did not bite on it. And so he did a great job of not putting the ball in the air, pulls it down, runs it to his right, and goes and gets out of bounds.
And there was a time there, the clock's ticking, and you're hanging around the 35 or 40. Where are you really feeling comfortable for field goal range?
Well, the other part of it is which kicker are we going to go with? Because if it's going to be a really long one, we're going to go with Jake because he's got a strong leg and a little bit stronger leg. And, inside down, once we get down in there, then it's probably going to be Chase. So once Zach got to where he was at, then we knew we were going to go with Chase. We'd like to get the ball closer to the middle of the field. So we ran a power play to the field, and Bryson makes a nice cut. It was a cut that was forced, and he makes a nice cut back to his right, which put us back on the right hash. So we weren't able to get the ball exactly where we wanted to.
But it was good yardage, and you need that. And, BJ talked to Chase after the game, and he just said that he was trying to stay away from everybody and not get caught up in the emotion of it. And, he's missed a couple this year, but and they've not been by much. For the most part, he's hit the ball pretty well.
Yeah, he really has, and just for an instant, I thought about maybe going and saying something to him, but what are you going to say? What are you going to say? Hey, Chase, go make it.
Don't miss it.
Yeah, or don't miss it. Nothing you can say is going to make you feel better.
Sure.
I mean, he knows. I mean, he's a biochemistry major. He knows what's on the line here, and so he's a really good kid, and we're really happy for him. And obviously, all of Pittsburgh State is happy that he walked up there and stuck it through there.
Well, he is the man in Gorilla Nation right now as Gorillas win at 38-35. We need to take a final break with Coach Beck. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to Fort Hays State. That and more still to come. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Coach Tim Beck Show, presented by CDL Electric. Eddie Lomchek along with Pitt State head football coach Tim Beck. We have another gift certificate to draw for. This one, $25 to Chatters and the House of Wings here. And I don't know who won that one. Go Gorillas. Phil Scott, come on down. That's at least a couple this year. guy has some connection somewhere high up the ladder, I think, to keep on winning. Loyal as a dog right there. So that's a good thing. Well, good win, obviously, Coach. You go out to Hayes, and it's going to be very different as far as atmosphere and that. And Chris Brown, former All-Americans out there. So some of these factors that come into play a little bit. But the win was only game number 5, so probably has to start between the ears this week for your guys.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And we talked about it a little bit on Sunday, and our kids are in the right frame of mind. I really believe that. But here's, the other thing we got to remember is our work team works extremely hard. We bring them back on Sundays. We scrimmage them on Sundays. We feel like that helps them throughout the week. And so I talked to our work teamers and our non-travel team on Sunday and said, we got to have a great look this week. Again, like we did last week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we want a great look by our work team. And if you guys do that, we're going to give you next Sunday off. So that's a pretty big deal for them to have Saturday, Sunday, Monday off.
Well, this Hayes team, Brownie out there 9 years as a D coordinator at Washburn. That's his, background. Offensively, they look like they're balanced, not prolific right now, but looks like they're trying to be a pretty balanced team.
They've got a really nice back. I don't remember his name, number 22. Watching some film on him against Northwest, he gets stroked in the backfield pretty hard and bounces off and goes 18 yards. I mean, they've got some players, that they haven't had, and so they're just learning the systems though, and learning Coach Brown's defense. That they've got one of the best inside linebackers in the conference. He's a really nice player. And, they don't have as many players as they would like to have, obviously, and Coach Brown will tell you that. But Coach Brown was one of the, best, intense players that ever played at Pittsburgh State, and you can see it coming out in this football team.
Their quarterback, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, not big numbers necessarily, but looks like he, takes care of the ball and decision-making for him.
Yeah, I think so. And again, they're offensively, they're just trying to find their niche on what they're going to do. But defensively, they look exactly like Washburn did last year. It's the same exact defense, which is a little bit different for them, again, because they were in a 4-3 defense last year. So now they're back to a 4-2. So it'll take them a little time, to get all that in. And but offensively, there's some good skilled players there, and you've got to prepare for them just like you prepare for anybody every week.
Let's have a little better first quarter Saturday out there. So.
That's what we're shooting for.
Kickoff from Lewis Field and Hayes Saturday at 7. Our pregame coverage will begin at 6. For Coach Tim Beck, I'm Eddie Lomchek. Thanks for being with us. Chiefs Kingdom comes your way tonight at 7:05. Have a great Monday.